Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo. Today, I'm joined by the main man, Mr. Marco Romo, and Mr. Gadiel Cartagena. Now, as always, we are playing the Indiana Pacers today. I see we got some love going on in the comments. We got Build Rider saying, "Let's go, Heat Nation." Got Raziel the Great. It's the Pacers who's even starting for us tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Appreciate you guys joining us this soon. Now, if you guys are joining us, make sure you guys support the primary sponsor. Actually, before that, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe as well if you guys are true Heat fans. Make sure you guys don't miss out on all the up-to-date Heat content. And we want to thank our primary sponsor of the pregame show, which is markbrownpa.com. That's marcbrownpa.com. Or give them a call, 954-866-8513. If you're young with a family, want to make all your assets are taken care of and go to the right people. And it services pretty much the entire South Florida. So like I said, give them a call, 954-866-8513. Make sure you give your business to a Heat fan. And we also have prizepicks.com. Use that promo code 5. It's the best spot to play daily fantasy. You don't have to worry about your players getting injured. Just pick a couple guys, decide if they'll go over or under on points, rebounds, assists, or combined stats. We give you the pregame picks every single day. Marco's like 95%. Gad's like 89%. I'm probably around 90% too. So we're chilling around here. But yeah, make sure you guys, to maximize your money, use that promo code 5. You'll double your deposit up to $100. Guys, we're playing the Indiana Pacers today, but the note that's everybody's want to talk about, right? It's trade deadline season, gentlemen. So before we get into the game, I want you guys to answer a very simple question. Do you guys see Miami making a move? Doesn't matter what move it is. And if you do or do not, why? Marco, I'll start with you, brother. Go ahead.
Oh, I would have said yes either way, but the Deadman thing definitely makes me lean like they're gonna make a move, even if it's just in the buyout market, which nobody wants to hear. But I think it's gonna be more than just a buyout move. I think it's gonna be a trade for who. That really depends on how the market shakes up. It depends a lot, like what the Raptors are gonna do. I know Ethan said it on the podcast. He was like, it all hinges on what Masai is going to do and what he's going to be willing to give up for a bunch of these guys and what he's willing to take back. For Miami specifically, today, I don't know if that trade's official yet, the Westbrook and Russell. I don't think it is official. They're still kind of working out some of the stuff. Depending on what gets moved there, could be a lot of stuff that Miami wanted to get. A guy like Jared Vanderbilt, they've been rumored around. But also that takes another team out of the Mike Conley move takes another team that maybe wanted a point guard like the Clippers. They're like, okay, we're kind of dwindling in terms of options we have here. Maybe they turn to Kyle Lowry. It's a lot of stuff that's still going to shake out. We're like less than 24 hours now. It's going to be crazy hectic. But yeah, I expect them to make a move. It as the deuces say, it could go either way. I have no idea what move they're going to make or who they're talking to right now because the Heat, they're a really close. Like they keep everything close to the chest. Like they're a lot like Toronto. They don't let anybody have any leaks out there. So I'm very interested to who they're talking to right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gad, how do you feel about the entire topic going into the trade deadline tomorrow?
Yeah, no, I agree with Marco. And to Donut Dan, who said y'all going to be live for the trade deadline tomorrow. I think there's either going to be a stream or a Spaces. I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but keep your eyes peeled. It's probably going to be something around like 2 p.m. Leading up to 3, and then maybe like a little bit of reaction to 3:30 to 4. So something will come up there. But I'm with Marco for the same reasons. Honestly, like that Deadman trade for me, I saw that and I was like, okay, there has to be something else. Now, to be fair, last year at the deadline when they did the KZ move, I looked and I said, okay, there has to be something else. And we didn't get anything, right? So like maybe this could end up just being like bad management of assets and having to give up a pick of whatever. And then you use that to get a buyout player, which honestly, like, could help the team, but just not ideally what you want to do with your second rounders. But that's besides the point. The other thing, kind of to Marco's point, where Marco said they play their cards close to the chest. Like they don't let people know what's going on. With that being said, there's been a lot of smoke. Like you get Anthony Chang and Barry Jackson reporting that Kyle Lowry is available for trade. I don't think the Heat do that by accident. I don't think that's just something that comes up. I think that is almost strategically placed, like, hey, he's probably going to be on the move the next 3 days. So once I saw the Deadman move, I almost feel confident that Kyle Lowry is going to be moved. Now, I would assume it would be to the Clippers, but the Clippers, that probably seems like their last resort. I don't think they're dying to get Kyle Lowry. Honestly, I don't know why they're trying to trade for him, but hey, you do you, Jerry West. Like, please fix some of our problems.
Kawhi Leonard.
So I think the Heat ultimately get a move done. I'll be disappointed if they don't. And not expecting something super seismic, but at least get me some better contracts. Maybe take a flyer on a young player if you can. And that's really it. Like, if they make a decision on one of Max or Gabe, also great. But my expectations are not too high for this deadline at all. Like, I don't think this is going to change our status as it pertains to contending.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be tough for us to make the right set of moves for us to be considered like a contender, right? We would have to make quite a significant move to put us in that echelon of contenders of maybe like Milwaukee, of teams of that sort where they just have higher, possibility or higher likelihoods with the players they have on that team. So I'm curious to see what goes on there. You know what I mean? I heard, some rumblings of after if Westbrook is on a buyout, how that would work. You know what I mean? He'd be serving Bam some assists instead of croissants like Kyle Lowry does. So maybe we can get some more Bam action going with there. But, I'm not sure what the team does. Like you guys said, it's really hard to predict what this team in specific does because they always, like you said, Marco, just keep everything so hidden from the public eye. They'd use a lot of different ways to just try to mask what everybody's thinking so that way they can keep the deals just more solid. Now, let's get into tonight's game against the Indiana Pacers. All three games, this is the fourth game of the season, right, against the Pacers. All three of the games combined has been 10 points less decided all three of those games. So it's been really close for that. What kind of game do you expect tonight, Guy? Do you feel like this is more so a close game, or do you feel like the Heat kind of could pull away or Indiana could pull away?
Well, you would hope the Heat going against, honestly, the Pacers have been one of the worst teams in basketball over the last month or so. Now, some of that is due to Tyrese Halliburton not being healthy and there for a good chunk of that, but he's been playing. The Pacers just really aren't that good. I feel like water kind of reached his level a little bit with their team. They're still building, they're still developing. So I think really what you want to do is try to slow down Tyrese Halliburton and see what the guards can give you. Like, they're not playing with Kyle Lowry, they're not playing with Victor Oladipo. So, I mean, maybe I'm alone in this, but I'm actually kind of excited to see what Jamari Bouye looks like for the Miami Heat. I know he's just on a 10-day, but he's been one of those players, if you've tuned in either G League games, he honestly looks like one of the best guard scorers that they've had in the G League pipeline for a little while. So having someone that can put the ball in the basket would be pretty cool coming off of the bench. And I mean, we'll see. I'm expecting the Heat to win coming off of a 4 days off, I think it is. Good rest. Obviously, the trade deadline looming. Maybe players aren't going to be super comfortable. But I feel like more or less the guys that are within trade rumors are kind of out of this game, unless you're considering Max and Gabe as those types of players. But I'm expecting the Heat to play a pretty good game, if I'm being honest with you. I think the Heat should have their offense humming. I would not be surprised if Tyler Hero had a big, big game tonight. And, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Marco?
Yeah, I kind of agree with. I'm glad he pointed out the stuff about the Pacers. They've been really bad for the past couple, 4 to 6 weeks, I'd say. The Tyrese stuff doesn't help, but also they've been really messy in terms of just the rotations. When I watch them, they're such a weird team because you see a lot of the young stuff, and they have really good young players. They're going to be good in the future, but for right now, it's just a lot of young guys trying to figure out their roles and trying to figure out how they're going to fit in. Miles Turner got signed to that extension. He's still somehow eligible for a trade, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, they're kind of been in that halfway zone of, are we going to compete for the playoffs, or we trying to develop for the future. But I think they're comfortably in that zone of the play-in teams for right now. I feel like everybody is at this point in the season. But yeah, they're very confusing teams in terms of how they like to play. They like to go fast. Like Miami, they're like the complete opposite of Miami. They shoot those threes up and they try to get out as much in transition as possible. That's something that Miami's going to probably try to take away from them. They did that really well in that second game of the season. So hopefully they kind of take away that. If you take that away from them, they become a really bad offensive team. But Miami's kind of the same way. If you take away those steals, those fast break points from Miami, they also are a really bad half-court team. So I expect a slog tonight. Whether that comes out for a Miami win, hopefully, I hope so. I think they have enough offense, more so than the Pacers, especially.
Awesome. So let's get into our prize picks for today and make sure you guys use that promo code 5. So, Marco, I'll let you start off with the prize picks. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Let's start off with Bam Adebayo. They have him there. Points, rebounds, assists, or combined? Which one do you want?
Give me rebounds. I got some.
10.5 rebounds. How you feeling about that number?
Ooh, I'm gonna go over only because Miles Turner is like he's legit one of the worst 7-foot rebounding bigs I've ever seen. That's my Texas guy too. I don't know what's up with him in rebounding. I remember one year he averaged close to like five rebounds a game. I think he's gonna kill him on the boards. I don't think they have anybody to keep him off the boards tonight. And he's been having a lot of like 12 plus rebound games recently. I think 4 of his past 6 games or something like that, he's at 12 plus rebounds. So I'm gonna hit that for now, but I'd be careful in the future games. But for tonight, yeah, I'm definitely hitting the over on rebounds.
Let's go ahead and get to Jimmy Butler, Gad. They raised his points up to 23.5. How are you feeling about that? Actually, I'll let you pick 2 points, rebounds, or assists.
The points line, that looks a little dicey, and I know obviously Jimmy is capable of dropping like 40 on the Pacers if he wanted to. But what I would go with here is actually the assist number. I'll take the over on assists. I think Kyle out, Gabe as the point guard. Gabe kind of morphs into whoever it is that he's filling in for that night sometimes. So maybe he'll end up being like more of the playmaker, but I just think having the ball in Jimmy's hands is so beneficial to the offense and having everything kind of revolve around him and Bam. So I'll rock with the over on assists. I wouldn't be surprised if he got to like 8 assists tonight.
Absolutely. So let's go. Let's see where the free throw line is. All right. So we have Tyler Hero at 2.5 free throws made. Looking at the last about a month and a half, he's averaging 2 free throws made. So that's a really tough ask as far as that goes. Let's not play that number. So they have him at 5.5 assists. I think you can take based on his assist numbers. Yeah, over the last month, minus 2 games, he's averaging 3.5 assists. I'll probably go under on that. Even with Kyle out, I don't think he has the best assist night. Going against probably common judgment, but like I said, haven't been averaging the assists as much as of late. So I'll take less on that.
That all hinges on how good the 3-point shooters are.
Fair, exactly. So the cool thing is, if you guys use the flex play, you can get one of them wrong and still win money. So you put $5 in, even if you just hit 2 out of 3, you're gonna get $11.25. You get some nice money there. So make sure you guys use that promo code 5 and get all that money. So let's get into predictions. Yeah, I'll let you start off with predictions, and Marco, I'll let you close it out.
I already kind of spoiled it. I think the Heat win. I think they kind of have to win this game almost. Like we keep saying, what's the worst loss of the year? I think losing to the Pacers at home the day before the trade deadline after 4 days off with your top 3 players playing would be pretty damn disappointing. I think the Heat have a pretty good game. I think Tyler Hero has a pretty good game. And I think the anti-Kyle Lowry narrative or whatever that is being spun, myself included, spinning it, is going to be in full force after this game.
Marco, close us out.
Our friend on Twitter, Simon Sperling, our Australian friend, posted that stat about how the Heat's record is without Kyle Lowry. I'll go ahead and spoil it for everybody. It's very good without Kyle. When he doesn't play, I don't know how much of that, in terms of it's very out of context, but it's still a stat that exists. And I'm going to go with the Heat tonight because not just because of Kyle not being there, I think because of the 4 days off. The Heat always play well after getting, practices in. That's a very Eric Spoelstra coach team kind of thing. They always seem to have really good practices that seem to translate over to good games. So I think those 4 days off really kind of helped them. I think it won't be a comfortable win. It never is with the Heat. When will it ever be? Maybe after the trade deadline. But, I think one game before the trade deadline, I think they're gonna close this one out tonight.
Yeah, I feel common sentiment with both you guys. I think going into the trade deadline, obviously, most of the players that are expected to possibly be moved, biggest name being Kyle, is they're not playing tonight, right? So most of the guys pressure off their back, really, and it's just kind of making that move. And if you get a win, we're just a little bit closer to being higher in the standings. And I really don't think standings is that big of a deal as far as judging a season. I think, playoff runs matter more. But I think just being able to get a couple wins, notching an extra win going into that potential trade deadline move, we'll see what happens there. I think Miami gets the win as well. I think we're able to just put them down as far as discipline them, make sure we keep everything in the ball goes, and we'll go from there. I think we get the dub. So we'll see you guys, I guess, after the trade deadline. We'll see what's going on after this. We'll have the post game tonight. Make sure you guys check out Paces and Spaces and Halftime and on Twitter if the Twitter is working right. And we'll go from there. So appreciate everybody who joined. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5, or to go with Mark Brown PA, MarcBrownPA.com. Appreciate everybody in the comments for being so active. AK Enthusiast, Rasil the Great, Vic Papo, Donut Dan. Real quick, I'll answer this one. How you explain what Westbrook work? Kyle Lowry gives us zeros on a regular. I'd rather have that. Go ahead. I'll let you answer that.
So as someone who I guess would tolerate the idea of Russell Westbrook more so than almost anybody else on Heat Twitter, I don't know. I've seen a lot of pushback on Westbrook to Miami. Did I mute there for a second?
You did.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. So mind you, this would be for a minimum contract, right? So like the risk is zero. It is quite literally taking up a roster spot that is open anyways. We've had a roster spot open the entire season. So that is the first caveat. So if he's coming to Miami, it would kind of have to be on our terms. Not going to start. Doesn't fit with Jimmy and Bam. Doesn't fit with the both of them. I think he actually kind of fits with Bam, surprisingly enough. And he's not going to close. So I don't think you're getting someone that's going to make a super big impact at the beginning of the first quarter and a super big impact at the end of the fourth quarter. He's going to be someone that's pretty much going to be an innings eater from the guard perspective, and he's going to be someone that can get to the rim. So for me, like I see value in Westbrook on the team for the 15 minutes, 16 minutes that Jimmy Butler is sitting. You have someone that can just recklessly get to the rim and play make for others. Now there's going to be a ton of other warts in his game where you're going to be saying a bunch of things that about Russell Westbrook pissing you off and he doesn't really know what he's doing half the time and all this stuff. But like you put him, Bam. I think you could run like a Duncan could work in that lineup. Strus could work in that lineup. Gabe could work in that lineup. Like Haywood Highsmith could work in that lineup. Like any one of those players I think fits. Our undrafted role guys, I think getting Russell Westbrook off the bench for a minimum would be asking less of them. Like they have to do zero creation. Kind of just space the floor. Let Russ and Bam kind of figure things out. Or Russ and Yurt, if he's our backup big at that point. Like him with a roller can work. So I would take Russ. I would take Russ off minimum. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I think that would help out a good chunk of the players on our team, at least in the regular season. It's just you do not want him playing high leverage minutes, any of that stuff at all.
Awesome. Let him cook, Mr. Gadiel Cartagena. Appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you, Marker, for joining us as well. We'll see you guys after the game. Let's go Heat.